Postulates. Let it be granted that a straight line may be drawn from any one point to any other point. Let it be granted that a finite straight line may be produced to any length in a straight line. Let it be granted that a circle may be described with any center at any distance from that center. Axioms. Magnitudes which are equal to the same are equal to each other. If equals be added to equals, the sum will be equal. If equals be taken away from equals, the remainders will be equal. If equals be added to unequals, the sums will be unequal. If equals be taken away from unequals, the remainders will be unequal. The doubles of the same or equal magnitudes are equal. The halves of the same or equal magnitudes are equal. Magnitudes which coincide with one another or exactly fill the same space are equal. The whole is greater than its parts. Two straight lines cannot include a space. All right angles are equal. If two straight lines meet a third straight line so as to make two interior angles, yellow and red, on the same sides less than two right angles, these two straight lines will meet if they produce on that side of which the angles are less than two right angles. The 12th axiom may be expressed in any of the following ways. Two diverging straight lines cannot be both parallel to the same straight line. If a straight line intersects one of the two parallel straight lines, it must also intersect the other. Only one straight line can be drawn through a given point, parallel to a given straight line. Euclidations. Geometry has for its principal objects the exploitation and explanation of the properties of figure, and figure is defined to be the relation which subsists between the boundaries of space. Space or magnitude is of three kinds: linear, superficial, and solid. Angles might properly be considered as a fourth species of magnitude. Angular magnitude evidently consists of parts, and must therefore be admitted to be a species of quantity. The student must not suppose that the magnitude of an angle is affected by the length of the straight lines which include it, and of whole mutual divergence it is the measure. The vertex of an angle is the point where the sides or the legs of the angle meet as A. An angle is often designated by a single letter when its legs are the only lines which meet together at its vertex. Thus, the red and blue lines form the yellow angle, which in other systems would be called the angle A. But when more than two lines meet in the same point, it was necessary by former methods, in order to avoid confusion, to employ three letters to designate an angle about that point, the letter which marked the vertex of the angle being always placed in the middle. Thus, the black and red lines meeting together at C form the blue angle, and has usually been denominated the angle FCD or DCF. The lines FC and CD are the lengths of the angle, and the point C is its vertex. In like manner, the black angle would be designated the angle DCB or BCD. The red and blue angles added together, or the angle HCF added to FCD, makes the angle HCD, and so of the other angles. When the legs of an angle are produced or prolonged beyond its vertex, the angles made by them on both sides of the vertex are said to be vertically opposite to each other. Thus, the red and yellow angles are said to be vertically opposite angles. Superposition is the process by which one magnitude may be conceived to be placed upon another, so as exactly to cover it, or so that every part of each shall exactly coincide. A line is said to be produced when it is extended, prolonged, or has length increased, and the increase of length which it receives is called its produced part, or its production. The entire length of the line, or lines, which encloses a figure, is called its perimeter. The first 6 books of Euclid treat of planes figures only. A line drawn from the center of a circle to its circumference is called a radius. The lines which include a figure are called its sides. That side of a right-angled triangle which is opposite to the right angle is called the hypotenuse. An oblong is defined in the second book, called a rectangle. All of the lines which are considered in the first 6 books of the Elements are supposed to be in the same plane. The straight edge and compass are the only instruments, the use of which is permitted in the Euclid, or plane geometry. To declare this restriction is the object of the Postulates. The axioms of geometry are certain general propositions, the truth of which is to be taken as self-evident, and incapable of being established by demonstration. Propositions are those results which are obtained in geometry by a process of reasoning. There are 2 species of propositions in geometry: problems and theorems. A problem is a proposition in which something is proposed to be done, as a line to be drawn under some given conditions, a circle to be described, some figure to be constructed, etc. The solution of the problem consists in showing how the thing required may be done by the aid of the rule or straight edge and compass. The demonstration consists in proving that the process indicated in the solution really attains the required end. A theorem is a proposition in which the truth of some principle is asserted. The principle must be deduced from the axioms and definitions, or other truths previously and independently established. To show this is the object of demonstration. A problem is analogous to a postulate. A theorem resembles an axiom. A postulate is a problem, the solution of which is assumed. An axiom is a theorem, the truth of which is granted without demonstration. A corollary is an inference deduced immediately from a proposition. A scholium is a note or observation on a proposition not containing an inference of sufficient importance to entail it the name of a corollary. A lemma is a proposition merely introduced for the purposes of establishing some more important proposition.